All right, let me start with a disclaimer. My young videographer Quinn here asked me to tell this story. I haven't thought about this story in a while. I don't sit around and think about my past that much, but he wants to talk about when I got signed to a major label record label, which was Def Jam Records. For young people out there that don't know, Def Jam Records is a legendary hip-hop label. One of the first ever hip-hop labels. It was formed in the early 80s by Russell Simmons and Rick Rubin, responsible for acts back in the day such as the Beastie Boys, Run DMC, Public Enemy, and the first big act they had was LL Cool J. In the 90s, they had a bunch of people like Redman and Method Man. They had Jay-Z, DMX. When I got signed to them in 2011, they had, I think, Rihanna and Kanye West, probably Jay-Z, and they're just a legendary hip-hop label. Most people will just know who Def Jam is. I don't know, but some people might just know Rick Rubin from being like a fucking record label Zen guru guy, record music business and general lifestyles and whatever the fuck Rick Rubin is now. I don't know what you would call him. But he once founded Def Jam Records. He actually made the logo himself. Def Jam Records started, the first Def Jam release, I think, from what I remember from an interview somewhere, was actually his punk rock band. Anyway, in 2011, I had a meeting with a really legendary record executive mogul guy who was running Def Jam Records at the time. And at the meeting, I played him one of my songs on a CD. A CD is a compact disc. It's a thing that used to play music back in the day. I played him a song on that, and I played him a song on my acoustic guitar, my song No More Love Songs. And this guy was, he was like, man, you got it. You got it, man. You're it. And then within the next couple days, I signed a record label deal, and it was really good money. Dude, at the time, it was insane money because I had never seen money like that. Sorry about that. Some people passed us on the trail. It's raining a little bit. Is that okay? Yeah, so I got signed. This is like just a small part of the story, really, because there was all the things that I had to do to get the meeting, the things leading up to it. I had to fucking be in a band for 10 years at least since I was in middle school on the East Coast. The band made many records and went on tour a bunch, and then the band broke up. I moved to San Diego. I decided to move to Los Angeles. I started making a ton of YouTube videos and independent music, and I found a manager, and then I got another manager. I had two managers at the same time, both of which worked at Interscope Records, and we had all these meetings, and then one day we had the meeting with the big shot, and the big shot liked me. And that's like, you know, that's a little bit of the story of a really long story. And yeah, so I got signed to Def Jam. I went to a bunch of cool parties and shit. I went to parties, like I went to a party at Jimmy Iovine's house, which really had nothing to do with me being signed to Def Jam. I was friends with Ryan Phillippe, the actor, at the time, so I went to all these parties that I shouldn't have been at, you know, and a bunch of famous people. It was a really crazy, very Hollywood time for me. You know, like I said before, like, you know, I'd be fucking wasted at all these parties. I wish that I didn't drink like I used to drink, because then I could actually remember these things more. Also, maybe I would have actually like networked and stuff like you're supposed to do at Hollywood parties and shit. I didn't do any of that kind of stuff. Anyway, I thought I actually made some pretty good songs during the process. Songs like Rosanna, if you know my music. Rosanna, Dispensary Girl, Two Wheels I made with them. That might have been the only thing that they actually officially put out, was my song Two Wheels. But, you know, push comes to shove. I didn't have anything that they deemed to be a hit for the radio, which is what you really needed to have at the time. To be on a record label like that. And I was really working hard trying to come up with something like that, and I guess I just didn't come up with anything that they deemed a hit. And I was drinking, and that stuff kind of like got me really depressed, because, you know, if you know about being an artist, like, you actually enjoy the process of creation. And if you make your own music, if you make your own art of any sort, really all it is like you having your own opinion and trusting it. When you create something, you go, this is good because I deem it so. But the more you're trying to create for somebody else and they're telling you it's not good, they're saying it's not good, you need to make something like this. And then you kind of try, then you start to, the worst thing that can happen to you as an artist is when you lose your own opinion, your own, what's the fucking word I'm looking for? Your own opinion of what's good. You know what I'm talking about, Quinn? What's the word I'm looking for? Instinct.
That was the word?
Instinct. Yes.
I could have gave you that.
You didn't. And we're back. The word I was looking for was instinct. When you lose your own opinion of what is good by yourself, you lose your creative instinct. And without your creative instinct as a writer, you really don't have shit. So that happened to me at the tail end of my signing to a record label. And I remember specifically the bottom of it was I was at a session in Atlanta, I believe, working with the Justice League, who were amazing people, really, really talented, but I couldn't come up with fucking anything. I couldn't come up with a hook. I couldn't come up with a song. I couldn't come up with a lyric. I was just like, and you know, honestly, like I would go home and cry. I would cry in my hotel room and I'd call my brother and talk about how depressed I was and how I was just in a state of misery. And I would drink through the whole session. I feel like I just was barely in the session because I was outside smoking cigarettes the whole time. You know what I mean? And I'm sure that people thought I was like weird and crazy and probably thought like, why did they sign this guy? You know what I'm saying? And then those kind of thoughts, you know, I'd be in the room and I'd be like, in my head, I'd be like, what do these people think of me? You know what I'm saying? So I kind of got debilitated by the process for one, but B, like, I don't think that I was smart enough or ready, even at 30 or however old I was at the time. I don't think I was ready for that. I don't think I was ready for mentally or like just having knowledge of the music business and how it works. I think if I went now, for example, at fucking 45, I think that I would know what I was doing. I think I could handle it much, much better. But at the time I didn't. And you know, it's funny because I heard that song Lose Yourself the other day, the Eminem song, where it's like, you only get one shot, do not miss your chance to blow. I had that chance. And I guess I didn't get the chance to blow, but I don't really think about it like I fucked my chance up because I know how I was then. And yeah, Eminem blew up, Jay-Z blew up, and all this stuff happened, but Kurt Cobain blew up. And look what happened to him. You know, Jimi Hendrix blew up, Jim Morrison blew up. I would have probably been more in that camp, you know what I'm saying? I don't think that I would have been able to handle it at the time. So I actually look at not blowing up as dodging a bullet. So, I mean, at least maybe that helps me to think about it that way. But I really do believe that I dodged a bullet. And considering my life now, I'm very happy, well adjusted. I got a wife and a kid and everything's cool. Everything's great. And I actually think that the way that things turned out was great. And also, in a strange turn of events, the song that I thought was the radio hit was my song Rosanna. And I told the radio guys, I was like, yo, this shit's a hit, right? And they're like, nah. And the day after I got dropped, literally the day after I signed the piece of paper and got dropped from Def Jam, I put out the video I made for Rosanna. And then I got a call from Warner Music Germany, and they signed that song. And that song became a #1 hit in Europe in 2013, a couple of years later. So like literally in Austria on the pop Billboard charts, it was the #1 song for 4 weeks in a row, above Get Lucky by Pharrell and Daft Punk. As crazy as that sounds. I mean, I wish it would have happened. It didn't happen in the United States, but maybe that's good too. You know, in the United States, I'm like a underground hip hop dude that can kind of tour and make music. Whereas over there, I'm like a one-hit wonder a la Rico Suave. You don't know who the fuck Rico Suave is. You don't know who that is. That's an old reference. But, you know, a one-hit pop wonder in certain countries in Europe. And it was a crazy experience, dude. Like me and my boy EOM, we would go to Europe and we did like Good Morning Germany. We would do all their MTV events. Like we would do all these things where we'd go to like there's like a beach town in Croatia, there's a Spanish island of Majorca, all these places where like German people, it's their Cancun. Like they do MTV spring break there. And like we'd be the musical guests doing our one fucking song, you know? And it was awesome. It was a crazy experience, man. Like they really treated us well over there. Like I did like tours of the whole country of Germany, just going to radio stations promoting the music. So it actually ended up being a really interesting and unique musical experience. It was all relatively, at the time, you know, I made some money doing it at the time. Another story for another day would be why I don't have the money anymore. That'll be a separate podcast. But yeah, that's the general story of it. I mean, there's a lot of stories within the story, but basically, I don't think that the music industry did me wrong. I think I wasn't ready for the music industry at the time. Look at these fire trucks. They must have listened to my mixtape.